4Culture is the cultural funding agency for King County. Please enjoy some holiday music from one of King County's wonderful community arts organizations. Learn more about us and the 300-plus cultural organizations we help support at www.4culture.org.
You better watch out, you better not cry, you better watch out, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town, Santa Claus is coming to town, Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, he's checking it twice, he's gonna find out who's naughty or nice. Santa Claus is coming to town, Santa Claus is coming to town, Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake, he knows if you've been bad or good. You better be good for goodness sake. You better be good for goodness sake. Well, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. With little tin horns and little toy drums, Rudy Toot-Toots and Rummy Tum-Tums. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. With curly-head dolls, the Tidal and coons, elephants, boats, and kitty cars too. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. The kids in girl and boyland will have a jubilee. They're gonna build a toyland town all around the Christmas tree, all around the Christmas tree. Well, you better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming to our annual Yuletide concert. We want to welcome all of you, especially those of you who haven't been to one of our concerts before. We want to thank the members of Emmanuel Lutheran Church for sharing their beautiful building with us. This concert is produced by the Whateverly Brothers and Maritime Folknet, a nonprofit, very nonprofit, organization that supports local music. Tonight's concert is supported in part by an award from 4Culture. We are delighted to be able to share our music with you. You just heard from the Whateverly Brothers. We will be back to introduce the next act, and we'll be doing a short set after intermission. But right now, we'd like to bring up a slightly different group of people. This is Watch the Sky, who have been part of our concerts on and off for decades. So please give a warm welcome to Watch the Sky.
Doesn't he look familiar?
All right, I'll find the right one here.
Well, we're going to start our set tonight with a song called Gower Wassail. It's from Gower in Wales, and it has a slightly melancholy melody with an Irish-sounding chorus. It sounds like they're singing happy words to a sad tune. Actually, it's from the Middle Ages, so times were extremely rough then, and people didn't live very long. Yet these wassailers are making the most of it. They're trying to keep their spirits up, and they're thankful for what they have, even in their poverty. The last verse says, as long as we live, which probably wasn't very long, and they were aware that other people were probably not going to live very long either. And you'll notice in the that they'll do some navigation in one of the verses by the moon and the sky and the stars and the ground as they wassail through the countryside. Wassail, wassail throughout all this town. Our cup it is white and our ale it is brown. Our wassail is made of good ale and cake, some nutmeg and ginger, the best we could make. Oldie-dole, oldie-doldie-dole, oldie-doldie-dole, oldie-doldie-dee. Fall-de-dare-o, fall-de-dido, sing to-ra-li-o. Our wassail is made from an elberry bough, and so my good neighbor will drink unto thou. Besides oil on earth, we have apples in store. Pray let us come in, for it's cold by the door. Oldie-dole, oldie-doldie-dole, oldie-doldie-dole, oldie-doldie-dee. Fall-de-dare-o, fall-de-dido, sing to-ra-li-o. We know by the moon that we are not too soon, and we know by the sky that we are not too high. We know by the stars that we are not too far, and we know by the ground that we are within sound. Oldie-dole, oldie-doldie-dole, oldie-doldie-dole, oldie-doldie-dee. Fall-de-dare-o, fall-de-dido, sing to-ra-li-o. Now master and mistress, thanks to you we'll give, and for our jolly wassail as long as we live. And if we should live till another new year, perhaps we might call and see who still lives here. Fall-de-dole, fall-de-doldie-dole, fall-de-doldie-dole, fall-de-doldie-dee. Fall-de-dare-o, fall-de-dido, sing to-ra-li-o. Thank you. Well, this next one is In the Bleak Midwinter. Chris grew up with this song. He lived in England when he was a kid.
One of my favorite Christmas carols.
It's a sweet lullaby, kind of a lullaby that describes a cold and crisp landscape. It makes me think of fields of deep, unbroken snow, lined with trees, flocked with lacy, crystalline frosting that we get in the ice fog. The last verse is a lesson in Christmas gift giving, with simple gifts often being the most significant. long ago. Angels and archangels may have gathered there, cherubim and seraphim thronged the air, but his mother only in her maiden bliss worshipped the beloved with a kiss. What can I give him, poor as I am? If I were a shepherd, I would give a lamb. If I were a wise man, I would do my part. Yet what can I give him? Give my heart. Yet what can I give him? Thank you. Such a pretty song. Well, this one is what Chris calls
A
Chris-
drinking carol.
a dr-
I mean, really, once you just cannot help but want to raise a glass and sing mightily, which you can. So,
Yeah, there's a great chorus. It goes 90, 90, 90, 90. You'll catch on, I'm sure.
right. On the very first Christmas the angels did sing, with the shepherds they caroled in chorus. For the child in the manger is Jesus the King. God promised one day he'd restore us. Here's the chorus. Hail, hail, ye the nations all hail, in joyous and glad hallelujah. The Messiah and Savior is born to a maid, and Mary is our mother too. And Mary is our mother too.
Good nanas.
On the very first Christmas, a star in the night shone down on a Bethlehem stable. For the child in the manger is God's only light, who would nourish us all at his table. Hail, hail, ye nations all hail, in joyous and glad hallelujah. The Messiah and Savior is born to a king, and Mary's our mother too. And Mary is our mother too. herald God's gift to all nations. For the child in the manger is God's only Son. Let us join in profound admiration. Hail, hail, ye nations, all hail, in joyous and glad hallelujah. For the child in the manger is Jesus to a maid, and Mary is our mother too. And Mary is our mother too. Hail, hail, ye nations, all hail, in joyous and glad hallelujah. The Messiah and Savior is born to a maid, and Mary is our mother too. And Mary is our mother too. See what I mean? You just gotta drink to that. All right.
Well, this next song requires a little bit of explanation, and while our friends Emerald Fire are coming up, they're going to help us with this. I'll tell you about the song. It's called Bitter Withy, and a withy is a willow switch. And I don't know if you know this, I didn't know this before I looked it up, but willow trees, when they rot, they're prone to rot from the inside out rather than from the outside in. It's a fungus or something. Anyway, so this is another song from the Middle Ages, and back then they like to write stories with familiar characters, and in this case they often used Bible characters. Has nothing to do with whether or not this actually happened in the Bible or not. It's just these are characters that these folks liked. So they wrote this story about explaining why the willow tree rots from the inside out. It's very complicated. So, are you guys ready? Okay, I want to say one more thing. This story is about a playful young Son of God, Jesus, looking to find some playmates. He is bullied by some boys in a higher social class than him, so he retaliates by showing off his supernatural powers. Oops. So his mother administers corporal punishment with a withy switch on his sacred bottom. And you know, only Mary could do that. Then he curses the willow tree because she used it on him, and that's why they rot from the inside out. It's very scientific. So I think it's a very interesting song. It's interesting to think about how a young son of God might have learned restraint and how to be responsible in the use of his power. Made me think there are some mortals in power today that could use a lesson like that. Okay, let's see what we can do.
Oh, it's a nice tune, too.
Just required a little explanation. Okay. As it fell out upon a holiday, small hail from the sky did fall. Our Savior asked his mother, mild, can I go and play with the ball? With the ball, my own dear son, it's time you were going or gone. But don't let me hear of any mischief at night when you come home. So it's up the hill, and it's down the hill, our sweet young Savior ran, until he came to 3 rich lord's sons. Good morning, sirs, each one. Christ, good morn, says he. And which of you 3 rich lord's sons is gonna play at ball with me? But why, we are lords, we are ladies' sons, born in a barrow hall. And you're nothing but a poor maid's child, you was born in an ox's stall. Well, if I'm nothing but a poor maid's son, born in an ox's stall, I'll make you believe in your ladder, and I'm an angel above you all. So we built a bridge with the rays of the sun, and over the river ran he, and 3 rich lord's sons, well, they followed him, and it's drowned that they were all 3. But it's up the hill, and it's down the hill, 3 weeping mothers run, saying, Mary Miles, take home your child, 'cause ours is drowned each one. So Mary Miles, she took home her child and laid him across her knee, and with a switch of the pitcher willy, well, she's given him fascistery. Oh, bitter withy, you caused me to smart. Another willow shall be the very first tree that'll perish from the heart. Thank you, Emerald Fire. It's beautiful. Well, you don't hear that Christmas song very often, do you?
All right, one more for you.
Well, this is a sweet one. It's from the point of view of a lady named Julian. She was a devout Christian mystic who lived in a cell in St. Julian's Church in medieval Norwich, England. She's a real person. Living in the church, she often hears the bells, and she contemplates the seasons and the flowers and the people that she sees walking by her window. Julian survived 3 plagues during the Middle Ages, and poverty and famine and the 100 Years' War was going on during her lifetime too. She was known as a counselor to those in grief and pain, and her message was of hope, because what she saw as the maternal love of God. Flowers spring up even under the snow. Winter doesn't stay, it eventually goes. No matter what, just let things happen as they will, and know that all shall be well and again. She's often quoted as saying, all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. We'll leave you with this. Loud are the bells of Norwich as the people come and go. Here by the Tower of Julian I tell them what I know. Ring out, bells of Norwich, and let the winter come and go. All shall be well again, I know. Ring out the bells of Norwich as the people
Ring for the yellow daffodil, it touches all I know. Ring out bells of Norwich and let the winter come and go. All shall be well again, I know. Ring for the yellow daffodil, the flower in the snow. Ring for the yellow daffodil and tell them what I know. Ring out bells of Norwich and let the winter come and go. All shall be well again, I know. All shall be well, I'm telling you, let the winter come and go. All shall be well again, I know. All shall be well again, I know. All shall be well again, I know.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, watch the sky. And our able stagehands, who are also musicians, clearing the stage. My other brother's kind of
Oh, you need this.
back. I don't need that yet.
Oh, you don't?
I will next set, but something like that. All right. Nice to see some familiar faces out there. Are there any unfamiliar faces? One or two of those, yeah, okay. Oh, come on. Anyway, all right. Well, looks like we're almost together.
He can sing in his usual spot now.
Wow. Yeah. I get to be in the middle again. And I can almost reach over to Rob.
All right. Shall we do a little something before
Yes,
the
we'll
next
do a little
guys come
something
up?
before the next bunch of people
okay,
come
G
in.
sharp it is, yes.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, you want to be on, don't you?
It kind of depends. Ooh, yeah. So are you reusing things the way that I left them, or?
You want to hear that note again?
Yeah.
Everybody got that one? Thank you. The boar's head and hand bear we bedecked with bays and rosemary. And I pray my masters be merry, quod estis in convivio. Caput apre de ferro, redens laudes Domino. The boar's head, as I understand, is the rarest dish in all this land, which thus bedecked with a gay garland, let us servire cantico. Caput apre de ferro, redens laudes Domino. Our steward hath provided this in honor of the King of bliss, which on this day to be served is in reginencia trio. Caput apre de ferro, redens laudes Domino. Caput apre de ferro, redens laudes
Thanks.
Thank you very much. We will bring our good friends Emerald Fire to the stage now. They get the prize for Best Dressed Band, besides being phenomenal musicians and singers and harmonizers, and just generally lovely people, too. Kelly and I have numerous different relationships. One of our favorite is that we are brothers in Tom.
Thought you'd say anything.
I was going to say something nice about you, Kelly, but too late. Anyway. All right. Well, if you haven't heard these people before, you will soon, actually, now that I think about it. They've been playing together for a number of years. They're gradually working their mystery guest into more and more of their material. So I think we have people sneaking up on me, so I'm going to get out of the way. Let's please welcome Emerald Fire.
Oops. Forget to clean her out first. That's the silencer. They mentioned something about best dressed. I would apologize, but people have been giving me clothes for my whole life since I became a performer, insisting that you'll wear this, right? And they've been packing up in my closet for all these years, so I'm running out of chances to wear stuff. So the more often you see me from now on, the weirder the clothes are going to get. I have to use them all up before I'm too old to wear them. You're very kind. Details. I didn't notice. I forgot to hand it to her.
We're going to do a little medley. I think we've played this darn near every year we've been here. It's sort of a strange combination of songs, but rather than try to tell you who did them and what they are, we'll just see what you think. The first part of it's called Another Christmas Song. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Fine morning. Hope everyone's connected to that long distance phone. Old man, he's a mountain. Old man, he's an island. Old man, he's awaiting. Says I'm gonna call all my children home. This fine morning, yeah, a beat of distant Africa or a Polish factory town. Old man, he's calling for his supper. Old man, he's calling for his whiskey. He's calling for his sons and daughters, calling all his children around. Sharp ears are tuned into the drones and chanters warming. Mist blowing round the headland somewhere in your memory. Everyone is from somewhere, even if you've never been there. So take a minute to remember the part of you that might be the old man calling me. Christmas morning, maybe there's always time for another Christmas song. Old man, he's asleep now, got appointments to keep now, dreaming of his sons and daughters, proving that the blood is strong. They said there'd be snow at Christmas. They said there'd be peace on earth. But instead it just kept on raining, a veil of tears for the virgin birth. I remember one Christmas morning, the winter's light and a distant choir, and the peal of a bell and that Christmas tree smell, and eyes full of tinsel and fire. They sold me a dream of Christmas. They sold me a silent night. They told me a fairy story till I believed in the Israelite. And I believed in Father Christmas. I looked to the sky with excited eyes, and I woke with a yawn in that first light of dawn, and saw him in through his disguise. I wish you a hopeful Christmas. I wish you a brave new year. All anguish, pain, and sadness, leave your heart and let your road be clear. They said there'd be snow at Christmas. They said there'd be peace on earth. Hallelujah, Noel, be in heaven or hell. The Christmas we get, we deserve. Thank you.
We have one more short one. It's a short one.
It's very, very short. There's the key. It's in D. We start in D. This is our goodbye song, and it's very short, and that's how goodbye should normally be. 1, 2, 3. Along the coast road by the headlands, the early light of winter's glow, it up. Say cheerio. Good night. Thank you for having us. Thanks to Maritime Folknet and the Whateverly Brothers, and thank you all for coming.
Emerald Fire. Aren't they great? We're going to take a brief intermission. If you go downstairs, you can buy music, CDs from some of tonight's performers. Also downstairs, Julie Brown will be in the kitchen selling homemade refreshments as a fundraiser to support our friends at Northwest Seaport and the restoration of their historic ships. Please remember that Maritime Folknet, that puts on these concerts, is a membership organization, and your membership helps us bring this music to you. Please visit the membership table at the back to join or renew your membership. At the other table at the back, and this is completely free, you can sign up to get emails about upcoming music events in the community. Don't go away. We'll have more music for you after intermission. Thank you. 103 years ago, on the Western Front, large part of the forces facing each other, as Christmas Eve approached, thought this is a really terrible time to have a war. So they stopped it. And along large parts of the Western Front, the Germans, the French, and the British soldiers all got together in no man's land and had a Christmas party. About 40 years ago, an American songwriter, John McCutcheon, heard this story and said, "This needs a song." So he wrote this song, Christmas in the Trenches. We're going to do this song and another song right kind of tied into it. So if possible, if you can hold your applause till we're done with the second song, appreciate it.
Assuming there's applause, right?
Yeah, well, there is always that, yeah.
Every time he says that, there's this moment where, maybe not.
I always try
Yeah.
to suggest that you hold your applause until the end of every song.
But, and actually the second song you've already heard once already, so. All right, gentlemen?
I got nothing else to do.
Okay, let's do this song then. Oh, my name is Francis Tolliver. I come from Liverpool. 2 years ago, the war was waiting for me after school. To Belgium and to Flanders, to Germany to here, we fought for king and country we held dear. 'Twas Christmas in the trenches, where the frost so bitter hung. The frozen fields of France were still, no Christmas songs were sung. Our families back in England were toasting us that day. They're brave and glorious lads so far away. I was lying with my messmate on the cold and rocky ground, when across the lines of battle came a most peculiar sound. Says I, well listen up me lads, each Tommy's strained to hear, as one lone German voice sang out so clear. He's singing bloody well, you know, me partner says to me, Soon one by one each German voice joined in harmony. The cannon all went silent, the gas clouds rolled no more, as Christmas brought us respite from the war. As soon as they were finished, a reverent pause was spent. God rest ye merry gentlemen, struck up some lads from Kent. Oh, the next they sang was Stille Nacht, 'tis silent night, says I, and in two tongues one song lit up that sky. There's someone coming towards us, the front-line sentry cried. All sights were fixed on one lone figure trudging from their side. His truce flag like a Christmas star shone on that plain so bright, as he bravely strode unarmed into the night. Soon one by one on either side stepped into no man's land. With neither gun nor bayonet, we met there hand to hand. We shared some secret brandy, and we wished each other well. And in a flare-lit soccer game, we gave 'em hell. We traded chocolates, cigarettes, photographs from home. These sons and fathers far away from families of their own. Tom Sanders played his squeeze box, they had a violin. As curious and fine a band has never been. Soon daylight stole upon us, and France was France once more. With sad farewells we each prepared to settle back to war. But the question haunted everyone, who lived that wondrous night? Whose family have I fixed within my sight? 'Twas Christmas in the trenches, where the frost so bitter hung. The frozen fields of France were warmed as songs of peace were sung, and the walls they built between us to exact their work of war had crumbled and were gone forevermore. Oh, my name is Francis Tolliver, in Liverpool I dwell. Each Christmas comes since World War I, I've learned this lesson well, that the ones who call the shots won't be among the dead and maimed, and on each side of the rifle we're the same. Stille Nacht, heilige Nacht, alle schläft, einsam wacht, nur das rote hochheilige Paar. Hol der Knabe mit rohigen Haar, schlaf in himmlischer Ruhe, schlaf in himmlischer Ruhe.
Please join us.
Silent night, holy night, holy heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly peace.
Yeah.
We're going to switch over some instruments here.
This is not necessarily a Christmas song, but it's a great song to do, and it fits the mood and it fits the feel rather nicely.
And it's also a maritime song.
We had to put a maritime song in because, you know. Okay. Dougie McLean tune for you.
And Rob is playing his brand new guitar. This is the first time it's been played in public.
Yeah, you're actually the first people that have heard this, and
Ever.
never.
Besides us.
Besides them. That's
Yeah.
right.
Ready for the storm. Oh, the waves crash in and the tide pulls out. It's an angry sea, but there is no doubt that the lighthouse will keep shining out to warn the lonely sailor. The lightning strikes and the wind cuts cold through the sailor's bones to the sailor's soul, till there's nothing left that he can hold except the rolling ocean. I am ready for the storm. Yes, sir, ready. I am ready for the storm. I'm ready for the storm. Oh, give me mercy for my dreams, 'cause every confrontation seems to tell me what it really means to be this lonely sailor. And when you take me by your side, you love me warm, you love me, and I should have realized I had no reason to be frightened. But I am ready for the storm. Yes, sir, ready. I am ready for the storm. I'm ready for the storm. Oh, and distance, it is no real friend, and time will take its time, and you will find that in the end it brings you me, the lonely sailor. And when the sky begins to clear, the sun it melts away my fear. I'll cry a silent weary tear for those that need to love me. But I am ready for the storm. Yes, sir, ready. I am ready for the storm. Yes, sir, ready. I am ready for the storm. I am ready for the storm. Thanks very much.
Well, we have some more regrouping to do. We'll be bringing Kat Eggleston and John Daly on stage very soon. So, Kat Eggleston has been amazing people for decades and decades. I've been a fan of hers from the moment I heard her sing on one of the ferry boats heading over to Bainbridge Island back in the summer of 1984. And some of you may remember her performing with her partner then, Steve Gouda, and as the ferry boat musicians. She's gone on to live in Chicago for a while and make quite a name for herself there. If you don't find her here, it's because they've probably dragged her back to Chicago to do some performances. She's played all over the country and I believe several continents. And I'm going on here. What? Yeah, go get those nice people out here because I'm running out of nice things to say. No, I'll never run out of nice things to say about Kat. She inspired me at one time to make up to coin a term, which I call vocal charisma. And I've taught workshops on that subject at Folk Life and Tumbleweed. Are we there yet? Okay. Let's see. Maritime Folknet. You can join Maritime Folknet very easily. Go see Lynn or somebody else back in that general direction. But don't do it while the artists are playing, please. You can probably wait till the end of the concert. I'd like to thank all of our volunteers, and I'm probably not going to be able to name them all. So volunteers, sort of wave your hands, and everybody else applaud for them, please. Actually, for the last number, you'll be hearing two of them leading a sea shanty that we'll close with. Can I do this? They're ready? All right. Please give a warm Yuletide welcome to Kat Eggleston and John Daly.
This is my friend Harvey. He's here in John's stead until John is ready to come out. Which, thank you.
People all this Christmas time, consider well, bear in mind what our good God for us has done in sending his beloved Son. With Mary Holy we should pray to God with love this Christmas day in Bethlehem. Upon this morn there is a blessed Messiah born. Near Bethlehem did shepherds keep their flocks of lambs and feeding sheep, to whom God's angels did appear, which put the shepherds in great fear. Prepare and go, the angel said, to Bethlehem. Be not afraid, for there you'll find this happy morn, a princely babe, sweet Jesus born. With thankful heart and joyful mind, the shepherds went this babe to find. And as God's angels had foretold, they did the Savior Christ behold. Within a manger he was laid, and by his side the Virgin Maid, attending on the Lord of light, who came to earth to end all strife. Good people, all this Christmas time, consider well and bear in mind what our good God for us has done in sending his beloved Son. The Wexford Carol, that's from Ireland. Originally sung, of course, in Irish, but it's not going to happen. Not. There's something so lovely about being part of this group and hearing and seeing people I haven't seen in years that I don't care to count. But it is lovely to be here and lovely to be asked to be part of this. Not to mention Ivan the Wonder Dog. All right, as the weather gets colder, I decided to learn this one. Days that merit more praise than all of the rest of the year, and welcome the nights that double delights as well for the poor as the peer. Good fortune attend each merry man's friend that doth but the best he may, forgetting all wrongs in carols and songs to drive the cold winter away. 'Tis ill for a mind to anger inclined to think of small injuries now. If wrath be to seek, do not lend her thy cheek, nor let her inhabit thy brow. Cast out from thy books malevolent looks, both beauty and youth's decay, and wholly consort with mirth and with sport to drive the cold winter away. This time of the year is met with good cheer when neighbors together do meet. Sit by the fire in friendly desire, each other in love to greet. Old grudges forgot, they are put in the pot, all sorrows aside they lay. And the old and the young do carol this song, drive the cold winter away. Of course, you know, if you know this, please sing along. Christmastide comes in like a bride, with holly and ivy clad. This time of the year, much mirth and good cheer in every household is had. The country guise is then to devise some gambles of Christmas play, whereat the young men do the best that they can to drive the cold winter away. So I have decided as the maritime portion, thank you all maritime folks here for making this happen, by the way. And I also love the fact that we were all invited to sing a maritime song along with the holiday material. Where else is that going to happen, huh? Perhaps another port town. I don't know. This is one of mine, and I came upon this story watching a PBS documentary called The Floating Brothel, which caught my attention. And I did some serious research on the subject later. The ship was the Lady Juliana, which I thought would probably sing well. And it was one of the first convict ships off to Australia from England. And it was all women. It was all the convicts were women, which is why it was called the floating brothel, because of course many of the convicts were just simply streetwalkers or pickpockets or so on and so forth. One of them, oh, and by the way, they did manage to thrive fairly well on the way. They did a relatively brisk business, it was told, in trade. So they got fresh fruit and vegetables, and instead of dying of scurvy, they arrived with very few casualties, rather late. In Australia, and one of the convicts was in fact a little girl. She was 11 years old. It was a brutal time, much as now is also brutal. But in those days, having an 11-year-old girl being thrown in Newgate prison for stealing another kid's clothes was certainly not unheard of, and she had been sentenced to hang, and then her sentence was mitigated, and so many were taken out of Newgate and put on the ship. Her name was Mary Wade. She lived to be well into her 80s, and she had a great many children and a great many grandchildren and so on and so forth. She was quite literally one of the founding mothers of the white population of Australia. Mary Wade. So, and the chorus is, the first part is quite easy. I remember the day we sailed away on the Lady Juliana. I remember the day we sailed away on the Lady Juliana. The second part is a little more complicated. It was a new world for the young Mary Wade. That was her name. It was a new world for the young Mary Wade before we made land in Australia. I've never recorded this song, although Joe Jenks just did. So if you get his new album, which is
brilliant. Not, if I do say so myself, yes, he does have this song on it. So, anyway, you know where to find it. I remember the day we sailed away on the Lady Juliana. After this, I'm going to call the lovely and talented Mr. John Daly out here to join me on the Scottish small pipes. Sit down beside me, Elizabeth Rose. I have a story to tell. It's worth the saying, Elizabeth Rose. It is worth the hearing as well. This was not my first home, as well you may know. I was born far away. First set my foot here long ages ago. It was 70 years to the day. What I recall of the London streets in the year 1789. There was no shelter and little to eat. There was nothing that I could call mine. Apprehended for stealing another girl's clothes, I was sentenced to sail away. Not 12 years old then, Elizabeth Rose. I was no older than you are today. I remember the day we sailed away on the Lady Juliana. It was the whole world to the young Mary Wade before we made land in Australia. I remember the day we sailed away on the Lady Juliana. It was the whole world to the young Mary Wade before we made land in Australia. So we set sail for the end of the world, first ship of the second fleet, with a cargo of convicts, all women and girls, dredged from the city streets. Most had been prostitutes, pickpockets, thieves. We lived by our wits alone. And though everyone had reason to grieve, none of us wept for our home. For though my small crime had brought little more than the price of one loaf of bread, if not for the whim of the mad King George, I'd have gone to the gallows instead. And had we stayed, we all would have paid that same terrible cost. But we landed alive, most did survive, only 5 souls had been lost. I remember the day we sailed away on the Lady Juliana. It was the whole world to the young Mary Wade before we made land in Australia. I remember the day we sailed away on the Lady Juliana. It was the whole world to the young Mary Wade before we made land in Australia. Well, they may judge us in England today as the rabble they swept from their land, but I will leave it to God on my reckoning day to say where the fault truly stands. No matter how we try to pretend, we are savage under our skin, and it shows very well in the fine-mannered men in the court of the English king. Rule of the sea and the law of the land, they are different, as everyone knows, and the oldest profession is much in demand, so we fared better than most. Though it is rare for fortune to smile on those who reach Botany Bay, for Elizabeth Rose, my granddaughter's child, life is better today. I remember the day we sailed away on the Lady
before we made land in Australia.
How could you tell?
Thank you. I love being in a room full of singers. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Daly. So, I'm going to end with this, and then we're going to sail on, try to go run and catch a ferry boat, and then sail on back to Brigadoon, where we live. Also known as Vashon Island. It is kind of like Brigadoon. You won't see us for another 100 years. Oh yes, we have a radio show. Thank you. That we do once a month on the third Monday from 1 to 3. John and I have a radio show on the Voice of Vashon, 101.9 FM. That's the radio voice.
They have to go online.
And you can go online and get it because you won't be able to get it anywhere else. We call it the Rolling Wave. It's lots and lots of Celtic music and whatever the hell we feel like playing. So this song is one of my favorites to play at Christmas time, and especially at this particular Christmas time. A song written by Ewan McCall. He wrote it after he read a newspaper article about a woman, about a family of tinkers who had been told to move on even though the woman was about to give birth, right around Christmas time. So, known as the Moving On song, and we're going to play some tunes after that. Brenda Stubbard's tune, and then whatever comes to John's mind after that. And thank you, everybody. Born in the middle of the afternoon in a horse-drawn carriage by the old A5. A big 12-wheeler shook my bed. You can't stay here. The policeman said you better get born someplace else. Move along, get along, move along, get along. Go, move, shift. Born at the tatty lifting time in an oboe tent by a tatty field. The farmer said the work's all done, it's time that you was moving on. You better get born someplace else. Move along, get along, move along, get along. Oh, move, shift. Born in a trailer by a building site where the ground was rutted by the trailer's wheels. The local people said to me, you lower the price of our property and you'd better get born someplace else. Move along, get along, move along, get along. Go, move, shift. Born at the back of a blackthorn hedge where the ground was rutted by the trailer's wheels. No eastern kings came bearing gifts, instead the order came to shift. Said he better get born someplace else. Move along, get along, move along, get along. Go, move, shift. Eastern sky was hung with stars, one shone brighter than the rest. The wise men came so stern and strict, and they brought the orders to evict. He said you better get born someplace else. Move along, get along, move along, get along. Go, move, shift. Wagon, tent, or trailer, Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thanks, John.
Oh, well, the times was hard and the wages low. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. But now it's time for us to go, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is done and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her.
Oh, the skipper was bad and the mate was worse.
Leave her, Johnny, leave her.
They'd strike you down with a spike and a curse.
And it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is done and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. Well, she would not wear or steer or stay. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. She shipped at green both night and day, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is done and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her.
So pull your lovers or you'll get no pay.
Leave her, Johnny, leave her.
Love, pull your lovers and then belay.
And it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is done and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. Yes, it's time for us to say goodbye. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. The old pier head is a drawing nigh, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is done and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is done and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. Thank you.
Thank you very much.